Hello. Okay, so I didn't know what to talk about today. And I usually get a nudge, and so I had a couple different nudges. I was thinking about talking about the 21 fixed container system because I know that kind of can overwhelm people. And then I was thinking, more and more I keep getting messages from people about postpartum depression, and I haven't talked much about mine. I had a really bad case, but again, just wasn't really speaking to me. And so I went to bed last night, still unsure of what I was going to talk about. And I had crazy dreams about our old house. And I woke up and I was like, I need to talk about disappointment and managing it, because we all have disappointments in our life. Like, no one is immune to that. And I don't care who you are. Everyone has some kind of disappointment. And it's really easy to kind of get on a pity party bandwagon and to start looking and just feeling really bad about yourself, like looking for the good, looking for the bad, and feeling bad about yourself, like you failed or you're not good enough or whatever it is. So I have had a long history with depression and anxiety, and those two things go hand in hand with negative self-talk, with negative mantras, with focusing on the negative and all that. And so I finally, thank God, I finally figured out how to work on myself, to become better, to become more positive, how to retrain my mind, how to reframe my mindset. And so I want to talk to you about some of the ways I've done that, and some tips for you today, for you to be able to work on that and to step into that if you're not happy with where you currently are. So I think sometimes that like nothing bad has happened to us, and like I'm all Susie Sunshine and lollipops, and it's still not the case. We've had a lot of disappointments and setbacks and things that just haven't panned out. We've had a lot of disappointment, and lately there feels like there's more disappointment, and my husband's really struggling with it. Because I do so much personal development and I work so much on my self-talk and my mantra and all of that, I know that just because things aren't panning out exactly the way we want them to, that doesn't mean it's the end of our story. It doesn't mean that something is a closed case or a closed door or anything like that. I'm choosing to look at every setback as something that it's a step along our journey, and it's going to help mold us into who we're supposed to be. And there's a reason that we're experiencing that. There's someone that I'm going to be able to help with my own hardship and pain if I'm honest and vulnerable and transparent about that. So I had this dream about our old house, and I haven't really talked much about our old house. So we bought our starter house. We were kind of dumb and young. We both had jobs. So we were like, we should buy a house. A house is the most amazing investment you could ever have, right? Like, you're not going to lose money on a house. Well, we bought this house, our starter house, in 2006. We had a realtor who, if I had gone with my gut, we would not have used, because he, was kind of slimy, and he definitely preyed upon our stupidness, our young greenness, and he was like, you've got to put a bid in on this. He took us to all the creepiest, grossest houses, because we were just starting out. Like, we had a smaller budget. So he took us to like the hood, like you have to like wear gang colors and like throw up signs. And yeah, it was pretty bad. So then he took us to this one house that recently flipped in an older neighborhood, and it wasn't quite listed yet. He just so happened to be the listing agent as well. Yeah. So, which, whatever, like, there's no shame in his hustle. Like, he's obviously out to like move himself along, and that's fine. I'm not bashing on him at all, but we were so green, and we were like, oh, we have to buy this house. So we bought the house for probably way more than it was worth, because anyone who is aware of the housing, like the recent housing stuff, like the market was so inflated. And here in Yuma, we were a boom town for a couple years in a row. Like, our population exploded, housing went crazy wild. And so we bought this house. It was our starter house, 3-bedroom, 1 bath, 1,050 square feet. And it was perfect for us and our cats, and we were both working, dual income, no kids, whatever, no big deal. So fast forward, we started pumping out babies. I quit my job at Starbucks, and I'm official breeder status, and we keep having babies. And husband works shift work, there's weeks and months he's working midnights, and I have 3 little kids, and I felt like I had a perpetual air leak. Like, all I did was run around after them, like, shh, 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 daddy's sleeping, shh, shh, shh. It was super stressful. And it started to manifest, that stress started to manifest itself in our oldest daughter. And we realized, A, the neighborhood was shit. It was getting progressively worse, and we had to get out of there. Like, we had to, for our own sanity. It was way too many people with 1 bathroom. It was just like not working. Although granted, our parents and grandparents, and even myself, like, I grew up in a one bathroom house. You survive, right? But it just wasn't working. So we were gonna go ahead and sell it. We were super upside down. And when I say super upside down, I mean like $80,000 upside down, super upside down. There was no way to get out of it. And so we felt like we take our integrity really seriously, my husband and I. And we didn't want to do anything that felt gross. We didn't want to short sale. We didn't want to like give it back to the bank. We wanted to take the high road. We were going to rent it out. But then we were going to take a several $100 a month loss. And we're like, we just can't afford to do this. Like, it's not, we could stay here. We could stay here, which we had already been doing for a couple of years and like suffer through it and man up, you know, because we have responsibility and all that. But we finally decided that every man for themselves, and we had to make the best decision for our family. And so the bank refused to do a short sale, even though we had all this like doctor documentation, mental health documentation about our daughter's stress. Navy Federal Credit Union was like, no, it's not a good enough excuse. So we wound up surrendering the house. We wound up giving it back to the bank with a bow. Here you go. We've invested all this money in it. Congratulations. You have all these new things in your real estate. We gave it back to them. And we took a massive hit, and it was really embarrassing. It was embarrassing and disappointing that a commitment we had taken on that we couldn't see it through the way we wanted to. It was embarrassing that we had a deed in lieu of foreclosure. Like, this was a really big thing, and we felt really gross about it. I haven't talked much about it because there's like embarrassment around that. We've had transfers that haven't gone through. We've had so many disappointments in our lives. And just like anyone, we're nothing special, whatever. You have disappointments as well. Maybe for you, it was you lost a baby or you can't get pregnant or something else. There's so many different kinds of disappointments for people. None of us are unique. We all have hardships, right? But the whole point of this today is how I figured out how to get past all that and how to use it, not for good, but how to just shift my mindset around it, because life is 10% of what happens to us, and it is 90% of how we choose to react to it. That is such truth. And I feel like people think it's cliche and they roll their eyes, you know. But it's really, really true. You have amazing power in your life on how you're going to react to things and how you're going to let it affect your story and how you're going to teach the people in your life a lesson from that. And I believe that everything, no matter how hard it is, it's always a chapter in our book, and it's supposed to happen. And usually things happen not the way we intend for them, right? Not the way we plan for them, but they still happen a certain way. And you get to dictate the outcome of that. You are not a victim of your life circumstances. Life circumstances will happen to you, and it's a tool. It's something in your chapter. It's something in your story that you can learn from, that you can grow from, that you can bloom from, something that you can figure out a way of coping with that and gift that to someone else down the road, if that's your jam, if you want to get better. If not, if you're just content to be like, oh, nothing ever works out for us, we're just victims, I don't know why God hates me. If that's where you're at, I can't really help you, and I don't know, maybe you should go watch like Ren and Stimpy or something right now. But, so this is kind of how I fixed all this, right? The old me would have constantly replayed it, right? The old me, I suffered from anxiety and depression and some form of that. I was on drugs for a very long time. And I just didn't know what to do. Maybe you don't know what to do, right? So I finally realized I had to stop. I had to edit the highlight track in my head. I had to stop telling myself all of these untruths, that we were a failure, or that what we had done was shady or embarrassing, or we weren't good enough, that we didn't live up to expectations, that we had let someone down, that we were all these terrible untruths that I was telling myself around it. I had to get on the other side of it. I had to flip it. So how did I do that? You know what I'm going to say. I did personal development. I did affirmations. And okay, so I wrote down a couple things like I always do. So I'm reading this book right now. It's called Attitudes of Gratitude, and I love it, okay? And so I had that creepy dream last night, and then I woke up this morning and I was reading my personal development, and it was all about how if you expect someone or something to make us happy, we lose our power. And it was talking about that. It was talking about how shifting your focus and finding the good. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is totally what I have to talk about today, about how to manage our disappointment. So you can only count on yourself and your ability to choose on how you're going to respond. Like, you can only count on that. Hey, can you take that out of here?
It's quiet.
Can you please take it out of here?
It's quiet.
Go take it out of here.
Blasting, high score.
Come on, go.
1.
I cannot control my children. Okay, so All right, so the first thing that helped me was to practice no matter what. So before you go into something, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Like, even if it doesn't, the end result isn't exactly what you wanted, even if it doesn't pan out the way you anticipate, which most of the time it doesn't, what is it that you can learn, accomplish, or experience here, no matter what happens? And so if you take away the expectation that it's got to pan out just exactly this one way, if you take that away and you ask yourself, what am I going to learn? Like, what can I learn? How can I benefit? You're already miles ahead of where I was, right? Like, you're already looking for the good. You're already looking for the lesson in it, because there's a lesson in everything, no matter what happens. If you don't take that toy out of here, I'm going to take away the batteries. Oh my God, he has this Bop It game. Drives me crazy. Okay. Anyways, sorry, got a little derailed there. Okay, so no matter what, when you practice, no matter what, right? Motherhood, this is real. It's live, my friends. When you practice, no matter what, you are no longer hooked by expectation to outside sources, to other people, to other events. You are practicing. You're choosing to look for, no matter what happens with the house, no matter what happens with this is what I know to be true. I am resilient. I can do this. My family loves me. There's so many good things you can choose to focus on, but again, it's a choice, okay? So, edit your highlight reel. This is step number 2. Stop replaying your mistakes. Stop replaying your embarrassing moments. Stop replaying that. Start taking little photo snaps of the good things. And start maybe it's how you feel when your husband kisses you. Maybe it's the way the sun filters in to your living room in the afternoon. Maybe it's the way your cat feels when you're petting it and it's purring. I don't know, whatever it is for you, whatever makes you happy, whatever brings you joy, choose to focus on those things. Don't beat yourself up over your shortcomings, over your mistakes, over the things that didn't pan out. We all have those. And you could torment yourself for the rest of your life and say, I've been a failure, I haven't gotten this traction in my business, or I haven't done this, or I never got my college degree, or whatever. You could focus on those things, or you could say, you know what, those are external things that don't define who I am. They were chapters in my story. They're teaching me lessons to move me forward in my life, and that's what I'm going to focus on. When I was early in motherhood, one thing I really struggled with was resilience. I felt like I wasn't resilient, and like the littlest thing would set my day back. The littlest thing would make me come unglued, and I hated that about myself. Like, I hated how I was so not resilient, and I wanted to become better, and I just didn't know how. All of this has made me resilient, because I realized something happening, it's not the end story. It's not. Like, this is just a chapter. I'm not dead, right? Like, I still have plenty of life to live. There's plenty of experiences to have. Things will pan out. They may not work out the way I expected them to, Miss Overplanner here, but it's a part of my story, and it's going to unravel the way it's supposed to. The only thing I can control is my behavior, my reaction, and how I move forward with that lesson. I've become a lot more resilient, and I really do believe it's because of all the personal development, which, thanks Beachbody, like, it's really helped change my life. Okay, so the other one. Okay, so you have all your mental pictures, right? Your positive things, the things that make you happy, the things that bring you joy, finding your joy in your journey. Okay, you're gonna take those out, like sparkly picture things in your memory bank, like in that movie. What's that movie with all the emotions? I don't know, Inside Out or something. Anyways, all the emotions. Imagine that, like the marble memories. Okay, all the moms, you know what I'm talking about, right? You do. Those are the things you're going to focus on. Those are the things you're going to celebrate. Those are the things you're going to remember inside out. Exactly. So you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Focus on the yellow marbles, the yellow memories, the happy ones. Don't think about sadness. No, kick sadness out. We all have enough sadness. We don't need more of that. Okay. Step number 3. Okay, so step number 1 was to practice no matter what, right? To keep things in perspective. Step number 2 was to edit your highlight reel. Step number 3 is affirmations. You guys, you know how I love affirmations because they've changed my life. I don't just get on here and talk to you about things that are like, I don't know, that I don't have personal experience with. Affirmations have completely changed my life. So do your affirmations. Say things that rip around them. So like we've been putting in for transfer after transfer. We've had things almost pan out, and the very last minute the rug is ripped out. And for a while I was really bitter. For a long time I was really bitter. And my husband is still really bitter. And he's put it in for a current promotion. It's like, if this doesn't happen, I'm going to leave. I'm going to do something different. And I'm like, you can't put it in a box. It's not how this works. Like, you can't be like, if this doesn't happen, and you can't use threats. You know, like, it's part of our journey. It's part of our story. Things are going to unfold the way we want them, the way they're supposed to, not necessarily the way we want them to. And we have to just roll with it and learn from it and become a better person because of it. So that's how affirmations help me. So if you're struggling with it and you still are like trying this, like you're, no matter what, and you're still like, this is BS, like it's not helping me. Well, make some affirmations around it. Like, I am not a victim. I can rock today. Life might feel hard, but I am stronger than that. I am resilient. I can do hard things. I have people that love me. What matters is that I have a family. Like, say affirmations around that. You know how I feel about that stuff. Okay, step number 4 is focus on what's right. Focus on what's going good. It's not all bad. Even when we're in the hardest, even when we're in the thick of the hardest, darkest area of our life, there is still good to be found. And I was reading this today in that book, the gratitude book, because that's been my focus for the month of March. I'm like, what month is this? That's been my focus for the month of March. And they gave a great example about how we've just been so trained to look for the bad. And I think it's a defense mechanism, right? Like, you're always on the lookout, like what's not right. But they said, imagine if when the kids are in school, if it was, instead of was look for the problem that is incorrect, if instead it was look for the problem that is correct. If we started to shift our focus that way, if we were automatically training ourselves to look for the good as little people, can you imagine how that would completely rock our society and change our world? Seriously, I'm like, this is amazing. I had such an aha with that today. So it's not about stop trying to look for the bad, because there's plenty of that. You'll always find bad. If you're looking for the bad, you're just going to feel discouraged. There's plenty of good though too. And if you're not seeing good, then you get to be the good. You can pay it forward. You can be someone's sunshine. You can be a sparkle. You can give someone a genuine compliment. You can pay it forward. If you don't know where to start, it doesn't have to be massive action. It's just little action. It's giving someone a genuine compliment. It's holding the door for someone. It's like paying for the coffee for the car behind you in the drive-thru. Little things are a domino effect. And I'm a huge believer and I just know that it's a boomerang, right? It's like a karma boomerang. What you put out, you will get back. It will come back to you. So if all you put out is pettiness and bitterness and negativity and complaining, that's all you're going to attract back to you. That's all you're going to get back to you. But instead, if you make the effort to change your current mantra and what you're looking for, you're going to start to see more. You're going to attract more amazing, inspired, positive people. So funny how that works, isn't it? So I'm a total work in progress. I have not figured this out. I'm not claiming to be an expert or anything like that. I'm always working on myself. And I didn't used to be this way. I used to be super stuck and super unhappy. And all I did was play that highlight reel of the negative stuff. Like, I feel so gross. These pants don't fit. Like, I'm never going to get caught up. I'm sleep deprived. Like, my kids, everyone wants me to wipe their butt. No one appreciates me, right? Like, I was playing the negative highlight reel, and I still struggle with that. I still have my breakdowns and temper tantrums. Like, I have more laundry to do. Oh my gosh, right? Are you with me? Are you with me, mamas? Like it, make a comment, pop an emoji if you're still with me. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple recommendations on books that I love and that I think have really helped me with this. And maybe they will help you, okay? So get a piece of paper. Here we go. So I love the book Present Over Perfect. I cannot think of the author's name right now, but I bet one of you will know it and you will drop it in the comments for other people. Present Over Perfect is a really fantastic read, especially if you're a mama and you're deep in the heart of motherhood and Groundhog Day and like mother to hamster wheel and everyone wants a piece of you and you just you just feel so frustrated and behind. Present Over Perfect is an amazing book. I love Joel Osteen. I did not, once upon a time, I was like, this dude, I don't know what's up with this Joker. He's super positive. He's got this crazy, like, clown smile. I just can't look at him. He just wants to take people's money, right? I didn't see the negative, Sarah. Wasn't taking time to be objective and to actually hear what he had to say. And as soon as I did, I'm a total Joel groupie. I love Joel so much. He's changed my life so much. So if you're really struggling with the things that you're telling yourself and your mantras and just life, if you're not easily finding the good, I'm going to encourage you to listen to his podcast. He has an amazing podcast. I actually got Sirius XM radio in my car because I listen to Joel all the time. When we're in the car, we listen to Joel all the time. And it's so funny, when I first started doing personal development, when I first started to work on myself, because I knew I had to change my mantra, if I wanted to get more, if I just wanted to grow more and I wanted to become a better person, I knew that I had to do something on the inside. on the inside. And so I started listening to Joel, and it was like every time I would turn on a podcast or the radio to listen to him, it was something I specifically needed to hear. It was like he was talking to me. And if you're new to personal development, I think you're probably going to have a similar experience, which is super cool. It's so cool. Super cool. Okay, so he also had a book called The Power of I Am. If you are a Joel groupie, like myself, and you listen to a lot of his stuff, well, it's kind of redundant. So if you haven't listened to his podcast or his radio show, or you don't go to his church, well then it's a great book, The Power of I Am, because those two words, I am, really matter. And if you're telling yourself, I am behind, I don't have enough, I am not appreciated, I'm never going to get ahead, you never will. You never will. But if you say, I am victorious, I can do this, I am strong, I am resilient, I am on my journey to getting better every single day, well, then you will. It's so freaking awesome. Okay, so I love Joel. I'm going to take it down a level. You need to breathe into a bag. Another great one for you Brene Brown lovers out there is The Gifts of Imperfection. I really love that book because I am a recovering perfectionist, and it's really hard sometimes to kind of not be perfect, right? And to not have everything just the way you want. And The Gifts of Imperfection is such a great read because it will really speak to you. So I love that one so much. And then lastly is gratitude journal. If you don't have a gratitude journal, I'm going to encourage you to get one. It doesn't have to be a fancy journal. It could be a spiral notepad. It could just be an app. You could use notes on your phone, or you could write it on a piece of paper, or you could just do a gratitude dump. Like just say it out loud every single morning. Something you're grateful for. Something you're grateful for at bedtime. It doesn't have to be rocket science. It doesn't have to be something massive. It could be my cup of coffee and the microwave I've used to heat this like 4 times today. It could be, I'm grateful for my toenail polish. I'm grateful for my child and his annoying game. I'm grateful that the rest are at school. I'm grateful it's almost the weekend. I'm grateful that I have a washing machine with a sanitary setting for puke, right? There's so many things to be grateful for. And when you shift your focus and you start looking for those instead of focusing on all the stuff that goes wrong, because we all have it. I still have stuff that goes wrong, still every single day. But it's my attitude. I choose to look at it as a lesson, as something I can learn from, as something I can get better at. I'm not perfect, certainly far from it. I'm still totally a work in progress, and I still backslide. I still have moments where it's really hard and I don't see the joy in all of it because I'm not a freak. Like, I'm real just like you, but I've put so much time and energy into working on becoming a better person, a happier person, because I know if I do that, I'm going to bless my family. I'm going to be a more engaged mom. I'm going to be happy to see them. I'm just going to be better at life. And that's what this is all about. It's not about perfection. It's just about progress every single day and getting better and striving to just be better. Be better. That's all I want to be. So today I'm giving you a couple calls to action. Are you prepared? Are you prepared to do this, my friends? You know you are. You're so excited. Okay, so I want you to tag someone that you think needs this, because we all have a person in our life. You know, they walk around with a little rain cloud over their head, or maybe they always have so many excuses, and then maybe that's you. And if that is, there's no judgment. And I'm saying this with love because I get it. I totally get it. But you are the driver of your bus, and you got to change your life. No one else is going to do it. Nothing else is magical is going to happen. You're not going to win the lotto and it will solve all of your problems. You have to decide that you want to show up to your life and that you want to get better. And if you really struggle with that, well, then you can do what I did. And it was, you know what? I have to do this, not just for me, but for them, because they're watching, my kids are watching, and they know, like, I'm teaching them everything I do. I'm teaching them. It's not just what we say. It's our action. It's the way we live. It's the way we go out into the world. It starts with us. And so if that's too overwhelming, if that's too hard, if that feels like too much of a sacrifice, well, how much do we sacrifice for our kids? How many things do we do for our kids all the time for things to be better for them? Well, you working on your best self, your best healthiest self, your best fittest self, your best sanest self is really in the same category if you think about it. Okay, so your first call to action is to tag someone that you know could benefit from this, right? I want you to implement something. So that's one thing I learned with personal development, because I'm kind of an obsessive person, just a little bit. And so when I start something, I'm all in. Like, it's go big or go home with me. I don't half-ass anything. I always use my full ass. And so I used to just like absorb tons of information. I was always reading. I was always listening to podcasts. but I was too scared to actually implement something. So I want you to take something from this today, and I want you to implement it in your life. You can't just collect information and expect it to change you. You have to actually take action to change your life. You have to actually take action to move yourself further along in your journey, okay? So are you going to do it? Are you going to commit to something? I hope so. Maybe it's just the gratitude journal. Maybe it's you're going to get your hands on Present Over Perfect, or The Power of I Am, or The Gifts of Imperfection. You have so many options. If you need more, because you've already read those, because you're also a junkie like me, well, then I'm happy to share them. So yeah, don't just collect your information. You're totally going to use it. You're going to use it. You're going to implement it, okay? So since we're talking about all of this, I want to invite you to my team's sneak peek, right? Because this is how I got here. This is how I changed my life, because I'm a Beachbody coach. And it's not just about Beachbody. I'm not Beachbody, right? No, I am my own person. Those are just the tools I've used to change my life. But the reason that I've changed my life so much is because there's an emphasis on doing personal development every day. There's a couple things you do every single day, like you work out and you drink a shake and you do personal development. How amazing is that? It's my job to get better every single day. And so by doing it, just 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, in the car, taking a kid to school, folding laundry, I listen to a podcast. We all have these pockets of time that are wasted. You could watch TV, or you could just listen to the silence while you're folding clothes, or you could work on becoming a better person. And so that's what I've done. I've become a coach, and it's helped me. It's helped me in so many ways. It's helped me overcome my fear. I still have a lot of fear, but it's helped me overcome so much of it. It's helped me realize that I am a work in progress, and I want to keep getting better. I don't want to just be mediocre. I don't want to be content with where I'm at now. I want to strive for greatness. I want to change lives. I do my affirmations every morning, and I am a New York Times bestselling author. So you can purchase my book someday. I'm going to be speaking to thousands of people. I will be changing hundreds and hundreds of lives. I have this amazing team of rock stars that are also life architects that are changing their lives, that are stepping outside of their fear and their self-limitations and their cages of negativity, and they're rocking their freaking lives. These are the things I speak into existence every single day. And this is like crazy talk. Like before Beachbody, before I started doing personal development, I would have been like, whatever, you're like, I don't know what you're smoking, but it must be good. But it's true. This experience, becoming a coach, completely, it's like a soda can that was shaken, right? And I was like, just kind of like bursting. Like I didn't know what to do I had a purpose. I knew I had to do something. I didn't want to go back to work. Had such a purpose for my life. I just didn't know what. I knew that I wanted to inspire people. I knew that, right? Even when I was still negative, I knew I wanted to inspire people, and I knew I wanted to help other people like me who felt lost and uncomfortable in their own skin and didn't feel like they belonged anywhere, because as a kid growing up, I was super shy and didn't have a lot of friends. I think I came off as like super stuck up, but I was just so shy, and it was a defense mechanism. I didn't want to be rejected. I didn't want to feel left out any more than I already did. And so I didn't know what to do with that. And then I found Beachbody, and I found my team, the Positive Vibe Tribe, and I found my calling. This is what I'm supposed to do, is encourage people just like you to get better every single day, because it's not about perfection. It's just about progress. It's about moving forward in your life and realizing that the bad, hard, ugly, yucky things that happen to us, it's not an end of our chapter. It's not an end of our story. It's just like, it's just a little section. So you're the driver of your bus. You totally get to decide what your outcome will be. You get to decide that. So anyways, we're having a little coaching, it's not little, we're having a sneak peek into our coaching team, the Positive Vibe Tribe. And so you are all more than welcome to join us if you vibe with us, because there's no pressure or anything creepy. It's not like we're going to recruit you or put you in a cult and make you wear like, I don't know, some kind of weird hat or anything like that. Totally not what it is. It's just about committing to your own journey. And some of us need more skin in the game. Some of us need a little more support. Some of us need to feel like we are making a difference. And so if that's you, I'm going to go ahead and drop the link to join our group. You can get in secret squirrel status. You don't have to participate out loud, right? That's scary. But it really, really did change my life. And I'm not here trying to sell you something. I'm just sharing my own journey. That's what I'm all about, my friends. So today, I want to know what you're going to implement. I want to know if you're going to read one of these books. I want to know if you're joining our sneak peek. I want to know if you're going to live your best freaking life today, or if you're just going to let it pass you by. If you're just going to be on the hamster wheel and be like, oh, I'll do it eventually. I'll get to that. I have so many things to do. I don't have time to read a book. I don't have time to listen to a podcast. Yes, you do. You sit in a car, you fold laundry, you have time. You get to choose where your energy goes. So make it freaking count, you guys. All right, make today fantastic and amazing because you are the driver of your bus. Beep, beep.